Welcome to the official day one of my writing journey, let's say, where I'm going to be writing almost every day. I'm planning on doing 6 days a week, filming it all and also posting videos each day I'm writing of what I'm doing, explaining my process, explaining my progress, and just having a bit of fun while I do it. Right now, I am writing a book. Let me talk a bit about how this started. I did mention it yesterday in the day zero video, but let me go into more detail. So in the video that's on my channel called The Curse of the Creative, that originally was meant to be a video titled something like writing the same story in 5 different genres. What I was essentially going to do is take an idea. So I have an idea list on my computer. Let's go into the computer so I can show you what I'm talking about. Let's see here. So this is my short story idea list, although I put it as short story idea list when I was writing a lot of short stories earlier this year, but now it's just my general idea list. I'm getting all sorts of ideas from it. Short stories, novellas, novels, all sorts. And the idea was for me to take an idea from this list, write a story in 5 different genres. It was going to be fantasy, sci-fi, romance. What was the other? I think it was horror and comedy. But then I started writing for the first genre, and it was the idea. Let me find the idea actually. It was this idea. I'm a soldier who goes with a group to defend a town from monsters who are coming through a mountain valley pass with a group of soldiers. So this was a dream. So what happens sometimes is I'll wake up in the middle of the night from a dream, and I'll just get my phone and type in half asleep and then go back to sleep. So the writing might not be the best, but reinforcements are on the way, but we have to hold it. We go, and during the night the monsters attack, and during the day we rest. After the first 3 nights, all the soldiers are dead except for me and one other. We fight night after night on the monsters back in brutal battles, just the 2 of us, and we survive and also become close friends. Eventually the reinforcements come and we are considered heroes. So yeah, I remember that was one of my dreams. So I took that idea and started turning it into a story. But then as I started developing that idea, I realized this could be a whole book, a whole novel, and I was loving writing it. And then I realized that there was one particular character who I really liked, who I wanted to almost build up to this. So then I took this character who I'm calling Galen at the moment. Name is a placeholder, it could change at any time. And basically I decided I'm just going to follow his life a bit. So the book I'm currently writing is about Galen, which I came up with for this idea, but earlier in his life. So here it is. So I've done chapter 1. How many words is chapter 1? Let's see how many words chapter 1 is. Again, these are just for my own organization. It doesn't mean these will be how long the finished chapters are, but I'm just curious. Let's see. 4,564 words. Decently long chapter. Let's go to how many words is chapter 2. Seems a bit shorter. 4,023 words. And how many words is chapter 3 so far? 1,859. Yeah. And then in total, I have about 10,000 words. This wouldn't have fit as a short story. I got already over 10,000 words and the story's barely started. We're just getting started here. Let me show you my plan a little bit. So this story was partly inspired, like I said, by that short story idea. But then I went back out in one of the characters, Galen's lives. But then I was inspired by the Immortal Knight and the Prince of Volca story that I wrote for YouTube earlier this year, back in, I think that was March or something. So this was the story for YouTube I made. And I decided to take this idea, expand on it, use the new characters I had made, and then I ended up making this new plan, tentatively titled Prince and the Beast, although that seems like it's going to get expanded. And now here, so I've written, for context, my My plan has 6 parts. They're not that long, as you can see. I've written 2.5 chapters, and let's see where I am in the plan. So yeah, I'm just about finishing part 1. If every part is 10,000 words-ish, which there's no saying will be, in fact, other parts will probably get longer, then yeah, this is going to be a full novel, a nice, good novel that I will probably plan to get published. So that's enough talking. Let's get to it, shall we? Let's get back to writing. It's been a few days since I wrote this because I was writing something else, which I will get back to eventually. But yeah, here, let's get to it. Oof, I am a good writer, if I do say so myself. I'm caught up. I just had to read a bit of the last thing I wrote to catch up. Let's get to writing. Woo! So the interesting thing about this story is my main character, Galen, or one of my main characters, he was brought up in this fantasy world by animals, by creatures. He does speak a little bit of the human language, but he learnt it much later, so he doesn't speak it very well. He understands more than he speaks, but still, it's complicated concepts, there are things that we or someone who was brought up normally would take for granted. He just doesn't understand. He also doesn't think like a human would. He thinks more like an animal would, but a very intelligent animal. So he thinks more in senses, more in the senses that are not the eyes. He looks at things differently on a more survival basis, things like that. So it's very interesting to write him. It's a challenge, but it's a challenge that I am enjoying to face, because I love writing, I love creating stories, but I also love pushing the boundaries of my skill level, what I can do, doing new things. And that's actually what makes great stories for me, is not just writing simple what I know I can write, but pushing it and using techniques. And that's how I improve, and that's how I enjoy it, and that's how I create the best stories I can create. I've been writing so much. This year, 2025, I have written more than probably the last 5 years, 2020 to 2024. Honestly, because I have been writing like crazy, and I started writing stories when I was 8 years old. When I started writing at the beginning of this year, I was already a very good writer, in my opinion. Only you can tell me when you read my stuff, but in my opinion, I was a good writer. But the amount I have improved just this year alone is incredible. It just goes to show that if you want to get better at anything, just do a lot of it. Do a lot of it and try really hard at it. You will get better. So the bit I'm writing right now, not even in the plan, not at all. But I just felt like this was the logical next step of what I had already written. That's actually how I write a lot. I plan in detail, but there are things I miss in the plan that only happens when I'm writing, things that don't make sense. Because when I'm planning the story, and it's more about what I want to happen. But then sometimes, for an example, I'll say, this is just a random example off the top of my head. It's not a real one, but just this is the kind of thing that I'll do. I'll say character A gets into a fight and beats up character B. Then character A goes into a bar and has a drink, blah blah blah. And then I'll be writing and I'll be like, if character A was beating up character B in the middle of the street and then went into a bar, someone would likely call the police. So if the police were called, they would come, and if he's in the bar, then they would interrupt, and it like develops more, you know? That's kind of what is happening here. In a previous scene, my main character Galen fought some people from a tribe that live in the forest that they're in. Now the tribe are coming for revenge, essentially. It just makes sense, even though it wasn't in the plan. So, I think I reached a good spot to end chapter 3. Let me think. What comes next? Let me think. A lot of writing is thinking. Yeah, I decided I think it's a good time to end here, chapter 3. Tomorrow we'll start off with chapter 4 and continue from there. I'll probably go into more detail into what this story is about as well. Maybe. We'll see. We'll see how I feel. We'll see. Anyway, thanks for watching. A.A. Watson out.